Hey guys, what's up? Here at work, chilling. Just got here. Hopefully this will be my last video on healthcare. I'm saying hopefully not because I don't want to keep talking about it because I know some other people do, but it's like it seems to be the only thing I'm talking about recently, and I did want to kind of get back a little bit more to talking about my thoughts on the development of society in general. But considering what's been developing with it lately and the reactions I've been seeing to the bill getting passed, I can't help but want to, reflect on that a little bit, as well as expand a little bit more on what I personally feel about the bill. Just in case some people are confused about what I think about it. But I first got to comment on the reactions. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Despite some of my problems with Obama, one thing that I have to say I enjoy about his presidency is just how much it's bringing to light the types of shit that I've always known about this country that people want to keep denying. Oh, we don't have to worry about racism anymore. Oh no, those hate-filled days, there's only a small number of these people. America's changed. We don't, those are just the little crazies. And they're getting smaller and smaller. Most people these days are decent. Most people don't think like that anymore. You're right. That's one thing I love about this presidency. Ever since this guy became president, all the nuts are coming out of the woodwork and exposing themselves as what they truly are. I keep telling people, they didn't just disappear after the 60s. They're still around. They're the reasons why, Reagan and his group got into power. They're the reasons why we still have the laws we have. I'm sorry, but these nuts exist. And they're, really popping up lately. It's also one of the reasons why I cannot throw my weight behind the so-called Tea Party movement, or the Tea Bagger movement, which I think is a little bit more appropriate. You could say whatever you want about its potential, and I'm not going to say it doesn't have potential, and I'm not going to say that there isn't some justification, because there is. But look at the people in it. Now, K-Biomek, I know we've discussed this, and I know you stated that there are people from all walks of life in it, and I know that's true. For me to generalize would not necessarily be fair to those guys who simply just want to see the abuses of government brought down a peg, and people who are just simply frustrated at not having much power in this country. But come on, we have to be fair here. When you happen to be seeing a large crowd of people holding up signs like, saying things like "Save White America," and you got people having certain, versions of Obama that look like the old drawings that were written about black people right after the Civil War in the South or in the Reformation era, you have to start asking questions, and you kind of have to wonder about the type of people that are in there. They're there. And no one in that group is going around saying, oh, we're not with these motherfuckers. No, we got nothing to do with them. Nah. They're, I have not seen anything from them going saying, hey, we're not with these guys. They don't represent us. Add to the fact that, you got Sarah Palin jumping up and down in there, and I don't really hear any people go in there going, why is this woman, trying to speak for us? And, you got all those factors, and I'm sorry. I just, can't, with the amount of intelligence I have, I just can't go and say, oh, these guys are great. I want to hang with them. I'm sorry, no. Can't do it. I'm sorry. You can say all you want about potential, but potential really doesn't mean all that much in the long run. It's what you do with it. If that potential is being squandered, or it's not even being used, or it's, if it's a bunch of idiots that have have control over that potential, then potential really doesn't mean a damn thing. Sorry. Then again, this is just my opinion. Anyway, I'm talking all about that because it's cracking me up ever since, when this healthcare bill got passed. You're just hearing all types of crazy shit from people. And it's also cracking me up how people in the Republican Party are trying to, take advantage of this, but then have the nerve to go around and say that, oh, we're decent people. Even that one guy in CNN trying to say, oh, we condemn this sort of thing. Even while in the exact same news broadcast, you see Republicans smiling and waving to the very crowds that were ready for violence. So it's funny to me. Now, I know that there's some people who are looking at this and saying, well, this is exactly what we want because you got people angry enough to want to take on government. Government might change. Yeah, but they're not just angry at government. They're angry at what they think are the enemies of America. And according to many of those people, people like me who actually like to think before leaping and who actually don't look like them are enemies of America. So I can't exactly back this up. Now on the health care bill, which they seem to be completely riled up about and which they think is a corporate takeover of their country. Which, again, I've said this before and I'll say it again, if you're somebody who thinks that this health care bill is a government takeover and a socialist act, you really don't know shit about what the hell you're talking about. You don't know anything about economic systems. You don't know anything about politics. You know very little about how governments work. This health care bill is not a socialist ploy. Far from it. If it was a socialist ploy, it wouldn't be written the way it was. And I mean, just a few things they've told you about the bill in news should be enough to let you know that this is not a socialist takeover. I really don't know what's wrong with you people, other than the fact that you're heavily ignorant if you're thinking this shit. But at the same time, it's not the great boon that other champions of the bill are trying to make it out to be. Both sides don't realize that they've been played by this bill in different ways. It's not a great bill that will save the people for health care, in the purpose of health care, nor is it this demonic government takeover of the healthcare industry. It's not. I'll tell you what the bill is. It's a boon for the healthcare industry because it gives them extra cash. And it does like next to nothing to actually reform healthcare itself. Here's what's going on, people, with this bill. It's not healthcare reform. I said this before in my last vid, but I'm going to explain that a little bit further. This is not a healthcare reform bill. I know it's called healthcare reform, but it's not actually reforming healthcare. Hear me out if you don't understand. If this was a healthcare reform bill, then here's some of the things we should be seeing in it. For instance, the fact that the medical procedures such as surgeries and drug treatments and all that are ridiculously expensive for the little bit of actual good it seems to give you. That would be addressed in the bill, maybe lowering the prices or maybe fine-tuning the ways they research drugs before they put it in the market to see if it really is harming people, because it seems a hell of a lot of drugs get recalled after a couple of years. That would be addressed in the bill. That's health care reform because it's dealing with the care itself. It would also do things like try to find out if there's anything to any research that happens to show that you don't necessarily need things like drugs and getting cut up to cure you, like they do in other countries. And yes, I'm bringing up other countries like Europe because despite what some hick conservative happens to believe, America does not have the best healthcare system. This has been proven over and over again. That's why people were asking for healthcare reform to begin with, because the amount of money we were spending on the care was not matching up with the results. We spend the most and got very little out of it. Remember, we've been hearing that year after year after year? That would be addressed in the bill. It's not. Come on, start thinking, guys. Remember what was said before about our healthcare system. We weren't getting much out of what we were paying for. This is not a health care reform bill. It is a health insurance bill. The whole purpose of the bill was simply to give people more coverage for an already ailing healthcare system. The system itself is not actually being reformed. The only thing that's being reformed is how many people can actually buy into it. That's all. So yes, it means that a lot of people who aren't being able to get basic care will be able to get it, and I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing, but the care itself is not being reformed. Just who has access to it. That's all. It's health insurance reform, if it is a reform at that. And despite the fact that people who are championing the bill, Democrats included, were saying things like, we're going to take the healthcare industries to task, and they're profiting off of people's deaths, and they're overcharging. The healthcare industry is actually making off big with this bill for one very simple reason. Very simple reason. They got more customers now.